Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video here today from China Unvarnished. Let's jump right into it.
It feels too real. The heartfelt words of a 38-year-old unmarried woman in Guangdong are heartbreaking.
I was forced to go on a blind date again yesterday. Let me share my thoughts. I am a 38-year-old unmarried woman, still single and without a partner. I deeply regret not getting married earlier, not finding a husband sooner. I agree with those who think this way, but I realized it too late. Before turning 30, my expectations were unrealistic. Back then, I had no shortage of suitors and had several relationships, but I ended them for the smallest reasons and lacked a clear and complete understanding of myself. Now, my requirements for blind dates are getting lower and lower.
You know, guys, people will always insinuate that this kind of stuff is heartbreaking and that we should feel sorry for the woman and that she's the victim in this situation. But to be honest, to me, gentlemen, this is absolute comedy, okay? This is exactly what these women deserve when they go out there and they make decisions like this. Nothing about this is unexpected, okay? But for these women who decide to ignore reality for their entire damn life, it's like the biggest injustice has ever occurred to them, but it's entirely their own damn fault.
I can even consider a divorced man without children. I hope my sisters can recognize their own situation and get married early, really. After 30, there are far fewer opportunities. Some potential partners won't even consider meeting you if they hear your age. Some sisters say that after 30, women are more mature and sensible. Do you believe that? It's just self-comfort. I don't dare to look at my photos from when I was 25, feeling foolish at that time. I was in my prime and could easily marry if I had been smarter.
You know what's even funnier? Is that women who find themselves in this situation, they could still get married, but their standards are still too damn high. Even the women who are over the age of 30, who have been screwing around this entire damn time, okay, who have been just essentially wasting a whole decade of their life sleeping with random dudes, even these women can still find a man and get married and have children, right? But there's going to be there might be complications with the birth and things like this, but the men still don't meet their standards. They say that they lower their standards and they're just looking for love, okay? But their standards are still too high, to be honest, right? They'll get to this age and then they'll demand all of these things. And the problem is, even if what they're demanding is reasonable, no guy really wants to date this. That's the problem. So it becomes unreasonable by default.
I wouldn't be in this situation now. Life is like a dream, and a year passes in the blink of an eye. Those who say they absolutely can't lower their standards after 30 and would rather not marry if it's not right, do you believe that? Your own worth has decreased. How can you not lower your standards? This is naive and unrealistic thinking. Men are still picky about you. Now, I'm under extreme pressure, sometimes crying for no reason at night. Now, when my parents see my situation, they just sigh. I feel helpless. My parents used to joke about getting a good deal while young. I found it inconceivable, thinking how can love and marriage be a transaction? But later, I realized it really is like that.
See, this is the thing that gets me, is these women will always try and play this like victim card, right? Of like, oh, I didn't realize that love was a transaction. Meanwhile, they've been treating love like a transaction the entire damn time. Okay, men really do not require a lot to be happy. They don't have a long list of requirements for their girlfriend or even their wife these days, guys. Like men are very simple creatures. Okay, you want to talk about transactional? Maybe you should have a look at yourself before you blame it on dudes.
The only flaw was that his family's financial situation was average, and he couldn't afford a house at the time my parents said.
Whoa, we missed something here. We missed something. So it sounds like she had an option here. Let's take a listen.
It really is like that. Back then, I overrated myself and delayed too long. In 2005, I had a good relationship. The boy treated me well, and I liked him too. The only flaw was that his family's financial situation was average, and he couldn't afford a house at the time my parents said, if you two feel good about each other, get married. We'll help with the down payment for the house. I didn't agree and broke up with him. At that time, housing prices weren't high, but I stubbornly believed that a man must have a house.
Yeah, of course, right? because a man with an average income is not acceptable. This is exactly what we talk about when we talk about, you know, these dating app statistics and the type of men that women choose to date and things like this, is that the average guy is completely invisible. She doesn't care about him. This is the same woman that's sitting here and trying to talk to you about, oh, I didn't realize that relationships were transactional. Meanwhile, she ditches all of her relationships because they can't afford a house, because they have an average income, because average, guys, is not good enough for the average woman. You know, and these are the people that complain about transactional relationships. It's like, no, hang on a minute. It's actually the women who are far more deliberate with who they have long-term relationships with. Guys, if for a woman to consider a man for a long-term relationship, she's looking at your bank balance. That's really what she's looking at. Long-term relationships, bank balance. Short-term relationships and fun, how attractive you are, how tall you are, how good is your face, do you have tattoos, things like this.
Now thinking back, why did I worry about those things? Sisters, really, after 30, your value depreciates. Even if you don't admit or resist it internally, it's a fact. Can you say your state at 35, whether in appearance or physical function, is better than at 25? Saying you are more mature and sensible is just self-comfort.
I've actually heard from a lot of dudes who have tried to date women who are older that this is complete nonsense. Women over the age of 30, they don't get more mature. It seems to me like they just become more bitter. They become more angry. They have a higher list of demands. And at the same time as having a higher list of demands, they also have less to offer. Guys, I actually, you know, I believe in the free market, okay? Set your prices at whatever you want. You can have whatever quote-unquote standards you like. I don't really care. But just don't be surprised when nobody's going to buy the product, so to speak. You know? Like, guys, I don't have any issues of like a car lot opening up and then pricing everything to be overpriced, right? Because if the market decides that it's overpriced, it's going to close down. And this is what happens to these women. They have no idea how to price themselves, what they're actually worth to men. They don't even know what men are interested in, guys. Earlier in this video, I said men are very simple. We require very little. And these women are so clueless, they don't even know what men want. You know? Men are not complicated men.
It's just self-comfort. You might not think you've depreciated, but society thinks so. Can you escape or refute this? I used to firmly believe that if I couldn't marry well, I wouldn't marry at all. But as I got older, I could only marry worse.
Yeah, see, this is what happens, okay? Women will be like, oh, I don't need a marriage. I don't need no man. I don't, you know, I'm strong and independent. But then the problem, okay, becomes, how do they pay their bills as they get older? Now, you might say, Taylor, well, why don't they work a job? To which I answer, that's a good question. They don't want to, okay? They would rather be taken care of. They would rather a man provide for them. This is why you see all of this womanist regret. They make all of these videos saying, wait a minute, I want to be a housewife, right? I'm 35 now, and actually I do want to get married. It's because they don't want to do the work. This is like, guys, this is the equivalent, okay? If you remember back in school when you were younger, this is the equivalent of like you have an assignment, okay? And the assignment is due in like 2 months. And then these women are the types of people that don't do the assignment, and then the night before, they want to steal your answers, right? They just want to take somebody else's answers because they haven't done anything. They don't want to, you know, get detention or do the work after, for example, and hand it in late. They don't want to do work. They want to freeload off of some guy.
Sisters, I'm a typical example. I've realized this now, but it's too late. I am about to collapse. I'm 38 years old. How can I compete with young girls? These years, I've lowered my standards again and again. Sometimes I even think about paying a college boy to get pregnant and become a single mother. I really like children and fear being lonely when I'm old. Once I reach 40, even getting pregnant will be a problem.
What do you mean getting pregnant will be a problem at 40? It's, as far as I know, getting pregnant at 35, even 30 is problematic. Isn't it considered a geriatric pregnancy at 35? I'm unclear on the exact numbers, guys, but I know you definitely do not want to be having it, you know, trying to have a child when you're 40. That just I'm not a doctor or anything, guys, okay? But that just tells me, what I hear when I hear that is you are going to have issues. things are probably going to go wrong. And see, this is what women will try and make other women believe, is that you have all of the time in the world. You can get to 40 and you can have a child. That's not how that works. You might be out of eggs at 40 for all you know, right? There might be some severe complications. And you might say, well, I don't care about the complications. Really? So you don't actually even care about your child. There's one thing to not even, you don't even care about yourself and the damage it could do to you, but you don't even care about the kid, which is even crazier. Like, don't tell me you like kids and then you're trying to have a kid at 40. These things don't add up to me.
Sisters, I advise you to accept reality and not be misled by some girls' statements. Like not marrying if you can't marry well, or if marrying reduces your living standards, it's better not to marry. The older a girl gets, the more mature and sensible she becomes, and has more advantages. Only marrying if the man has a house and car, or living alone for life is fine too. Issues with in-laws, giving birth, doing housework, taking care of in-laws, and women being at a disadvantage. If you're 40, the possibility of marrying well is 0. At 35, you're basically in trouble with relationships. At 30, it starts to decline. This is my personal experience over the past few years.
These genuine thoughts are not unique to this older unmarried woman in Guangdong. Many other older single women have similar experiences and feelings. Although they may appear confident and glamorous on the surface, their inner monologues reveal the challenges and emotional struggles faced by women in similar situations. Allow me to introduce the heartfelt experiences of several other women who, like the woman from Guangdong, have also navigated the complexities of remaining unmarried past the age of 30.
我39岁，没有结婚。
I am 39 years old, unmarried, and childless. I often reflect on whether it's a matter of fate or if I am just too picky. Sometimes, I can't even figure it out myself. Some men's comments are very harsh, and I don't understand why they are so narrow-minded. When I see their remarks online, I often can't sleep for days and nights. I know that being unmarried at 39 is not considered young. Having children at this age would be categorized as high-risk pregnancy. These are the real issues faced by older unmarried women. But that doesn't mean I need to marry someone decades older than me or directly become someone's grandmother. Some men make me feel like older single women aren't worthy of marriage, like unsold cabbage at a market. They think we are lucky if anyone is willing to take us.
I mean, that sounds pretty reasonable to me. That sounds pretty accurate. Okay, if you're sitting here at age 39, you are unmarried, you can't find a guy, and then you don't like comments that people are making about you, saying that, hey, you'll be lucky to get a man. Maybe these two things are correlated, but they don't think about this, guys. They just think, oh, the comment is mean, so therefore it's untrue. All right, you ever heard of the phrase tough love? Okay, giving people accurate information, telling people where they really are at, giving them the truth that they need in modern day society is incredibly frowned upon, guys. They'll consider it like hate speech or some crap like this these days. You'll get cancelled. You'll get called all sorts of different names. If you say to a woman, hey, maybe it's unwise to wait until you're 40 to get married, because oftentimes women at this age, they have less options. Men aren't typically going to pick them as much. You'll get labeled as like all sorts of different things, even if it's completely true. Even if you don't dislike the woman, even if you're just trying to give them helpful and useful advice, they don't like you. And they wonder why men walk away. They wonder why, men don't say anything to them. Why they don't approach. Why men don't even want to communicate to begin with.
I don't understand. Isn't everyone imperfect?
I mean, sure, everyone's imperfect, but you've willfully waited until this point in your life. Let's not kid ourselves here. You screwed up, okay? Yes, everyone is imperfect, but that's missing the point.
Just because older single women have a few fewer advantages, does that mean they should grow old alone in your eyes? Or should I follow your advice and find an elderly partner, or become someone's stepmother or grandmother? Am I really that unworthy? In fact, I'm just a bit older. I believe I can still have 2 or even 3 children. The news often reports women in their 50s and 60s having children. What's more, I'm only 39 this year. So, please don't look down on me or think I'm different. Actually, I'm still a young, unmarried, and childless woman. My body functions are the same as those of girls in their teens and 20s. I'm still that lovable girl. It's just that I chose not to accept suitors in the past. So, I urge those men to open their eyes and see how outstanding this woman in front of you still is.
我想问大家一个问题，就是我长得是不是还行？
I want to ask everyone a question. Do I look okay, maybe even passable? Recently, my family relatives started introducing potential matches to me. One of them is a bald man, but they didn't mention this fact when introducing him. They only told me some hard facts, like he is 5 years older than me, owns multiple properties, has a car, a stable job, good income, and lives in a first-tier city. It sounds like these conditions wouldn't make it hard to get married, right? But this makes me feel a bit insecure, as I'm just an ordinary person. The matchmaker said that this man has no special requirements for the woman, as long as she is a good girl to live with. So we exchanged contact information. However, his social media had nothing on it. I said, "Can you send a photo?"
This is exactly what I was talking about earlier in the video, guys, when I say that men don't really have these ridiculous standards. Okay? They really do not. You just have to be a pleasant person and don't eat a lot of fast food. And you're like basically there, and most men will say, yeah, sure. Okay? This is a guy who, this is a successful man from what I understand. His only requirement is that you be pleasant to be around. And she doesn't want him because he doesn't have hair. I mean, it is what it is, guys. You know, I'm not, if this woman wants to say no, that's her decision to make, but don't cry and complain later on. That's all there is to it, guys. People are welcome to make their own decisions, but don't cry and complain when you're 39 years of age and you're still single. Okay? Again, guys, very successful dude, multiple properties, okay? Has very little requirements from the woman. One would argue none. You just have to be a normal person. She doesn't want him because he's bald. Also, these guys who are successful, of course they don't have social media. What's on it for them? They don't care about this nonsense. They don't care about how many likes their little profile picture gets. They don't give a damn. A lot of guys who are successful, who are actually doing things in life, they don't have social media presences because they don't give a damn. You see?
He replied, "I don't have any photos on my phone." I said, "You can take one." He said, "I'll go out and take one for you tomorrow." I was a bit puzzled. Do you need to go out to take a photo? But I didn't think much of it. The next day, he did send a photo, but he was wearing a hat and a mask, showing only his eyes. I thought, since the photo is so mysterious, let's meet and see.
Have you guys noticed that some of my videos have gone missing over here on YouTube? That is because I am slowly moving them over to locals where I can actually host them without the risk of getting in trouble. If you are not aware, many creators are starting to move over to places like locals, Rumble, etc. because YouTube is not really a free speech platform. So if you are interested in supporting the channel and getting access to videos that are no longer available here, make sure that you come and join us over on locals. The link will be in the video description down below. Supporters get access to their own exclusive videos that are no longer available to the public. So make sure you go to the link in the description and join us over there now. But anyway, guys, back to today's episode.
After chatting for a week, we decided to meet. When we met, he still wore a hat and walked in a somewhat feminine way. During the meal, he kept the hat on, and sweat was dripping down his face. I said, "If you're hot, you can take off your hat." He hesitated and then took it off. I saw that he was bald. He said he shaved his head because he had seborrheic alopecia, and the doctor said his hair would grow back in half a year. But I looked at his shiny scalp, with only a little black stubble on the sides, and his head shape was long and thin, which looked odd.
So this isn't even a guy who has the regular kind of baldness that men get. This is going to grow back, apparently. And she doesn't like his head shape. And she doesn't like the way he walks. Guys, I mean, this is just ridiculous, isn't it? It really is. you can set your own standards. Look, I don't care what happens to this woman, guys. You know, if she says no and she goes out there and she lives in poverty for the rest of her life, not my problem. But, you know, for people who complain about relationships being transactional and the superficiality of modern relationships and how men shouldn't care about appearances and women are valuable at old ages, they certainly seem like the judgmental ones to me, to be honest with you.
I didn't say much, just saw sweat pouring down his forehead, unsure if it was due to nervousness or something else. During the meal, he even sprayed food into my dish. His mouth couldn't hold it in. I really wanted to get up and leave, but decided not to hurt his self-esteem and finished the meal reluctantly. It was the longest meal I had ever had. Actually, I don't mean to discriminate against baldness. What I want to say is that this kind of thing needs to be informed in advance. If I don't mind, we can interact. But in the situation of being unaware, I feel I was not respected. Even though I am a 37-year-old older single woman with average conditions, I have the right to choose and cannot accept just anyone. If it were you, would you be angry?
I feel like if you were this guy, you've honestly probably dodged a bullet, right? And this is what I'm saying, okay, is dudes will lose points in attractiveness, right? So what I'm saying here is guys don't care as much about physical appearance as these women make it out to be. Men will oftentimes take a less attractive woman who actually appreciates him and cares about him. Okay, so dudes, you know, they might go through this situation, they might be hurt, but at the end of the day, I think they dodged a bullet. You know, you're sitting here judging his head shape, for goodness sake. And I understand you might not be attracted to bald men, of course, which, you know, a lot of women aren't, a lot of women are. It's a very objective thing. But at the end of the day, I do think the man dodged a bullet. What'd she say she was? 37, 39? I mean, goodness me, man. How many dudes do you have to reject to even get to this situation in the first place? You have to reject a very, very large amount of men to get to this situation.
Just anyone. If it were you, would you be angry?
我敢说，90后里面没有比我过得更惨的大龄剩女了。
I dare say, among those born in the 1990s, there's probably no older unmarried woman who has had a tougher time than me. When I was 25 years old, I had just been promoted to regional director at a publicly listed company. In the eyes of my friends, family, and colleagues, everything seemed to be going smoothly. I was practically a winner at life. However, soon after, I fell into severe depression. This setback cost me nearly 3 years of my youth. I didn't earn any money, and I lost my job. I spent all my savings and nearly went into debt. Many might wonder, what could have caused such depression at such a young age? The reasons are many and complex, but it all boils down to my first love. During that time, I couldn't sleep alone at night, often crying and losing hair, suffering from loss of appetite and...
Oh my goodness, man. Whenever I hear these stories, it's just like, can we get to the point? What happened? Can we get to what exactly is going on? Enough of like the sob stories and everything. Like when I listen to this stuff, I don't want to hear about how sad these people are because I don't care, right? If I hear that, hey, maybe you're a widow, then I'll empathize with you and then you can talk about being sad. But if you're just going to throw sadness at me, I'm not interested. I don't think a lot of men are interested. They see your situation and as far as they're concerned, it's all done and dusted. And what women like to do is they like to say all of this sad stuff at the front so you empathize, and then they tell you the nonsense, hopefully, you know, hoping that you just don't understand the nonsense. But we'll see if she actually has a reason to be sad.
Suicidal thoughts. My health was on the brink of collapse. Ultimately, it was my mother who stayed by my side every day during that period, taking me around to relax and helping me emerge from the shadow of depression due to a long period of unemployment. I faced numerous rejections when trying to find work again. Eventually, I joined others in starting a business in Nanjing, putting all my heart and soul into work, just to make up for those lost 3 years.
Okay, I really do not give a damn. So you became sad, you lost your job, or you stopped working, and you used up all of your savings. Can you imagine if dudes were out here? You know, if a man makes a decision like this, he doesn't even have the capability of being saved. You see what I'm saying? Nobody's going to care about him. Nobody's going to be able to feel sorry for him. People are just going to say, why did you stop working? Why did you spend all of your savings? Are you stupid? And if the guy goes, well, I'm sad, nobody cares. Right? You see what I'm saying? Nobody cares. Just get stuff done. Make your money. Do what you're supposed to do. Don't just quit your job or don't just stop working. Men can't afford to do this nonsense. Women will do this crap, and then they'll complain when there's any sort of consequences for it. And even this, the woman could still be saved and get a husband and still be looked after, but her standards are still too damn high. So she failed there too. But let's jump to the next woman, because I've had enough of this.
Eyes ahead for me. Do I even have a future?
特别的崩溃，特别的沮丧。
I feel utterly crushed and deeply discouraged. When others introduce prospective partners to me, upon learning that I am 36 years old this year, they refuse to even meet me directly. They reject me outright. I work hard, earn money diligently, and strive to improve myself. I exercise daily, control my weight, but at this age, I've come to realize that men simply don't care about these things. They don't care about your education, your income, or how you look. They only care if you can still bear children. They care about your age. Because the outstanding men are either married early or only like girls in their 20s. They wouldn't even consider someone my age. I feel particularly lost and anxious. Should I continue to go on blind dates or just accept my fate?
See how it's funny where even in this situation, they still don't consider the average man? It's like you can put them in this position where they're 40 years of age, they're still unmarried, they're desperate to find a man, but the average man is still not good enough. They will continue to have higher and higher quote-unquote standards. But again, guys, if the man's attractive, she has no standards for him. She'll still hook up with him. But they're still single, right? Still single, age 40. The standards are still nice and high. Can't go on a date with an average man because you're above him. This would be a very different story, guys, if these average women recognized that they were average. But every single one of these women wants a dude who has a property or multiple properties and can completely and utterly look after them, takes them out on dates, does all of this stuff. Basically, it's just money. What it really boils down to is the guy has to be quite successful to even qualify for an average woman. And the guys who are successful, they don't, number one, it's rude to them to treat them this way, right? They have to earn all of this just to get an average woman who believes that she's entitled to it. Absolutely not. Number two, these guys don't want older women. And number three, a guy spends his entire life working to this position, and now you finally care about him and you want him to be monogamous to you. No.
I really don't know what to do. I feel so anxious.
我问你处对象吗？
年有点大。
我才91年的，我变大吗？
对。
我才91年的。
91年有点大。
What does this say? Hello, handsome, can we date? I think you're a bit old, says the guy. So the woman says, hello, handsome, can we date? He says, I think you're a bit old. The girl says, what do you mean by saying I'm old? I was born in 91. Is that considered old to you? How old are you? I was born in 97. Absolutely roasted.
97年的。
97年的。
是年
不嫌你小。
年收入有点大呀，年收入有点少。
我还有一家公司，我不敢显示。
Wait, so let's continue. Hey, handsome, I won't mind that you're younger. I think your annual income is a bit high. Mine isn't as high as yours. I can take care of you, the girl says. I also have a company that I dare not name. I'm afraid you might feel pressured. The boy says you're 158 centimeters tall. It's a bit short. Forget it. We're not suitable. Roasted. Absolutely roasted. This is what I'm telling you guys. This is what many men say. People completely ignore when men say this. But we do not care about how much money women make. We know that it doesn't benefit us anyway. Also, guys, I think men innately understand that women will never really provide for you in this way. If a woman has to financially provide for you, she'll eventually just grow to resent you. She'll probably cheat on you. Statistically speaking, she'll leave you. She'll divorce you. You know what I'm saying? Like, when a woman earns more money than the dude, men understand that you're not going to be respected. They don't like you. You see what I'm saying? Also, the fact that he says that she's short, absolutely hilarious, because we know in Western societies, guys, this is completely reversed. Women are always out here roasting dudes' heights. Very funny when it happens to the women. Again, you might feel inclined to feel sorry for this woman, guys, but again, she's put herself in this own position. Women don't end up in this position on their own, excuse me. Like, this doesn't just magically happen unless they're a widow, but statistically speaking, they're not. A lot of these women have to reject an extraordinary amount of men, a huge amount of options to even get to this position. It's not like this happens overnight and they're unlucky and they're a victim like they want you to believe. They treat men like crap. That's why they get here.
你压力，你小我2套房哪里来的？
身高158，想比较矮就是158，158。
前段时间我去婚介所去报名的时候，好多男的说我们宁可找离异带孩子的，我们也不想找一个30、29岁未婚的。我现在也是着急，马上都快40岁了，我现在还没有对象，我感觉我的生活一点希望都没有了。
The old saying goes, at every age, one should do what is appropriate. This statement is entirely correct. At that time, you were proud, thinking you were beautiful and had high standards. Others advised you to lower your standards for choosing a partner, but you wouldn't listen, you couldn't take any of it in. By the time you could listen and understand everything, it was too late. Honestly, I believe women should marry a suitable person at the right age. Really, by the time you're 39, even if you find a suitable man and get married, you'll face a heart-wrenching issue. It will be difficult for you to conceive and have children.
You know, guys, this woman is sitting here crying, and again, you might feel inclined to empathize with this woman. And you know, I'm not particularly one for tears, right? I don't like seeing people upset. It's not something that makes me happy. But I certainly don't care if she's crying, okay? Because I guarantee you, gentlemen, I absolutely guarantee you that this woman has made many, 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 many men feel worse than she feels in this current moment. The amount of times men will get rejected, they will get ghosted, they will be treated like crap, they will be left, straight up abandoned, told that they're not good enough, etc., etc., throughout this woman's life would have happened a lot. Okay, it really, really would have. You do not magically end up in this situation. You are not a victim. And this is something that you chose. I don't feel empathy for people who do this to themselves, guys. I really do not. But yeah, absolutely hilarious stuff here. Chinese women, still unmarried, approaching 40. This one here, still incredibly entitled, which is crazy to me. Guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. Remember to leave your thoughts and your comments. And guys, just a brief reminder that we are going to be having Fiend Gang applications open for, I'm not sure how long. So make sure you get in your applications if you are interested in helping me cover some of this nonsense. You would like to get the word out to men of some of the dangers that they face in modern day society, to do with women in particular. Make sure you check out that link in the video description. And guys, make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.